104.3 MYfm, Jon Comouche here in the studio today. We got Max, dude.
Yes.
What's going on? How are you,
dude? I'm great. We're right at the end of this 35-city tour, and
I was gonna say,
happy
you
to
had
be
a
back here.
busy summer.
It's been busy, but amazing, man. I mean, I think like over 300,000 people will have performed for this summer, which is, I love doing it. So,
yeah, so you're on tour with Big Time Rush,
yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Are you more like excited or upset that the tour is about to be over? Like, how are you feeling about it?
I accept things for what they are, you know, like, you know, it's going to go by quick. I try to be present with each show, and, you know, all you have are the memories. So it's been good.
So what's like the most exciting part about wrapping up a tour? Like, is there a meal you look forward to? Is it just spending time with the family? Like, what is in your sight?
I love just like being in my bed watching reality TV and
Really?
eating crazy food, honestly, like you know, just barbecue or something. I just love the laziness, yes. And big bodies of water. I love just like a hot bath and all of that, you know?
Because like, what's the bed situation when you're on tour? Are you literally on like a bus?
Yes, I live on a bus.
Yeah.
My daughter's too. My wife was along for the whole first month, and we live on a queen size bed in the back together. So it's like my daughter starfishes. I just like hold myself up against the side of the bed. But it's so worth it. I mean, the last few weeks have been by myself. They went home, and I'd much rather that full bed than having the room, you know?
I believe in having the bath and all the amenities of a house.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. After these interviews, I'm going home and doing that, and I'm a happy man. But I'm happy to be here, too.
I appreciate it. Me too, man. I feel like this may be a basic question, but I've always been curious, like, do you have a preference when it comes to playing a big arena or playing a show like the Fonda or the Wiltern or something like that? Like, what is the difference?
I will say in arena, we've done a lot of arenas on this tour, which is pretty magical. You know, like I have the song Lights Down Low, and the whole arena lights up with lights, and there's few things as special as seeing a whole arena light up with lighters and people singing a song. So I'll say that's probably the most magic, but I also love an intimate crowd when I can crowd surf and get in there and like.
Do you crowd surf, really?
I do, baby. Every show on my headline tour I do. I actually love popping people's cherries for crowd surfing. I love, like, every person in my crew would do it each night with me. We would have a different person do it each night just because it was so fun.
So how often does that go wrong? Does it ever?
Luckily, I'm not crowd surfing like other people do where I jump in, because that's when it can go wrong, I think. So I just like make sure I'm like doing the most mild crowd surfing. I stand on the railing, I go back, and it's been pretty much always pretty good.
It's a dream, man. I feel like we're not the biggest dudes, so I feel like for us, it's like
exactly
easy,
short
right?
kings, you know, not
Short
a lot,
kings.
not too much weight, just enough, evenly proportioned. Some hands on butt, but it's okay, you know, it's all fun.
That's all part of the fun.
It's all
right?
a part of it, exactly.
I do appreciate you making time to be here. I was like debating telling this story, but I'm just gonna go.
Let's just be honest, baby.
One of my core memories, like getting into radio, involves you.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, dude. So like before I did this, I was working promotions, which is like events for Kiss FM, which is our sister station here in Los Angeles. And one of my first events was this event. I think we did it. It was either like a humane society or an animal shelter or something. And you were the performer, right? Like we were setting up because you were coming to perform.
Yeah, yeah.
And so me and my buddy were setting up this tent. And right before you're about to get there, like this massive dog walks by and like lays a big old stinky.
Oh, I love it.
Like just like a big old shit in front of my tent.
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
It was a massive one. And Max is about to get there. I'm like, man, like this is not what we included in the job description, but like, here we go, right? We got to pick it up. And sure enough, as we're getting ready, we're setting stuff up, you roll up and you're walking up to the tent and you come up to us and like, yo, do you guys need any help? Like, is there anything I can make easier for you guys? And I was just like, who does that?
No, I love it. Thanks.
You know what I mean?
Awesome,
And I was just
man.
like, especially for someone who was just getting into the music industry at that time, you know, it was cool to see that like some people are really down to just help. And I was like, that was my impression of you.
Wow.
And so every time I've seen you at iHeart events from then on, I was just like, this guy's a real one, man.
I appreciate that, man. That is such a cool thing to hear. That's the greatest compliment I could ever hear, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's in the end, I just love the human connection. So that's why I do this. It's the best part of music.
And that's what we hope for too. And that's what's kind of nice is like, as a fan, like I'm a fan of you personally now, but like your music too. I think I found you the Hold On We're Going Home on YouTube.
Oh, the YouTube covers, yeah, man.
I'm probably like 100,000 of those.
Oh, amazing, so sick.
Wild. And I know you had a bunch of success before that, but that's when I found you. And it's just cool when you come around and you meet someone that does that. Like,
yeah.
How do you stay grounded?
It's the people, for sure, you surround yourself with. I feel like I have always been really lucky to have people who are so talented, but keep it real with me. Every song, every mix, every show, it's like I don't want yes people. I want people who are gonna say, I think you could do better, or this isn't quite as good as it can be. And I think that just being real and raw with the people around you, it makes all the difference. And that kindness and people being there because they believe, and I believe in the people I get to work with. I think that's the difference maker always.
And I know you've kind of been in the industry for the longest time, right? But were there people that you watched and you were like, I want to be like that? Or is it just how you've always been?
I love Ryan Reynolds. That's one of my favorites.
Me too,
the
man.
best ever, man. I think it's so tough. And I'm a family guy too, and I think it can be really hard in this specific world, but it also grounds me the most because in the end, that's my number one. And so the rest of it is a bonus, and it's such a roller coaster, and it's really cool to see people like him diversify his career in a cool way that seems authentic, and he's just chasing a dream every second, and I feel like for me, as long as the magic's still there, I'm always going to be feeling this way and feel grounded at the same time.
I love that you brought up Ryan Reynolds. I feel like that is just like the male specimen that every guy looks up to. Like I will question myself for Ryan Reynolds.
I was the biggest Van Wilder fan. And I remember back in the day people being like, Van Wilder's one of your favorite movies. I was like, I don't know what it is about this guy, man. He's just magic. I love him. And
so you're like on board way early.
I've also been the same. Like I'm a big Adam Sandler guy. It's like there's something about it that I love, something that's like there's a little cheese there. It's a little cheesy. It's a little romantic, but it's also just something like kind of magic and comforting about it.
It's like authentic cheesy.
Yes, and I think Ryan has always been, he just like does it in the most authentic way no matter what. And you can tell that every movie, like a Yes Man or a Deadpool, like it's so self-aware, but it's also so empowering because he's taken all the things about himself and accepted and put them into the world. And that's all I want to do too.
I just love how you put that. Like I love that we can connect on that Ryan Reynolds thing. And speaking of like surrounding yourself with just good people, you got this new song out.
Yes, oh yeah, of course.
Like hours it's been out now. Crazy with Jake, Bozzy. Like how did that trio come together? You got the boys together.
Yeah, it really feels like the Avengers. It's like the pop boys doing the Spider-Man meme is my favorite. Like, I can't wait to get that in person.
And I was like, this makes sense.
Yeah, it was. So I did the song. I've written a lot of love songs for my wife, and this one, every once in a while, one happens where I'm like, oh, this feels like an elevation of it's something different in a different way. And this one I wrote for her in a way. Again, like I said, like I've been through some really negative things in the last few years, and I think that she's been the driving force for me to feel alive and grounded and happy. And this song was about her being that magic, that I do feel those strings when I see her. I see she is the movie moment for me. And so after I wrote it, I was like, well, I love collaborating. I'm a solo artist and I'm an only child, so I love just like a serial collaborator. I was like, who would sound cool on this? So I thought of both Jake and Bozzy, and I asked them both just to see if they'd be interested, because usually I just like put feelers, and they both wanted to do it. And I was like, shoot, what am I going to do now? And so we were like, why not all three of us? Let's just do it. And they were fans of each other, so it's been amazing to have them a part of it and add their magic.
You know what's cool too is you were talking about that cheesiness that's kind of authentic, and I love the way you do talk about love and talk about your wife. Like as a guy too, I feel like that can kind of be challenging for dudes to talk about. Like,
of course.
Especially me, when I really like someone and I start to tell somebody about that, it's almost like nerve-wracking because it feels cheesy, even though you mean it.
Of course.
Like, did you have practice trying to do that? Like, how are you so comfortable talking about those things?
To be honest with you, I've fought for it in a way. Early in my career, there was somebody in my world that told me that I shouldn't. It was right when I got engaged to my wife Emily, and at the time he said, pop stars got to be single, like you got to be secretly, and that works for some people, like who you're dating and all that stuff. And I was like, well, that's just not how I can't do that. Like I'm just not that person. I have to be honest. So I wrote this Lights Down Low song for her. Like I'm not gonna pretend I didn't. And I think that fight and really making sure that that's what I believed in is the driving force, and it always has been for me, because I would rather not have like secrets. I just want to be this vulnerable person. I think the music that's the most vulnerable is what I'm attracted to, so I hope to give that to people as well.
Like the easiest person to be is yourself.
That's honestly, this morning it was 5:30 a.m. I'm in the airport. This clear TSA person recognized me. I looked horrible on the way here. I've got my hoodie on, and she looked at me and she was like, "Wow, you are really short in person." And I was like, "Dang, it's 5:30 in the morning. You just said that." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't care." And she was mad short too, and I was like, "Short king, short queen." And it's so funny thinking about like insecure me from a while ago would have been like, "Oh man, no, I'm not that short." But in the end, what am I gonna do? Like grow 10 inches? No, I am who I am. So it was just like, yep, I am, and this is awesome. So we might as well just be short king and queen together.
And when you take that into the studio and you got Jake and Bozzy and you're like all collabing on like what you want this to sound like, is it just like a vulnerability male fest of just sharing feelings?
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Is that what it's like?
Bozzy, it's so funny because Jake did it from a distance because he lives in Rhode Island, so we like FaceTime and we've been going back and forth. And he's also, again, we all are a little romantic, so it really works. And with Bozzy, I remember we've met a bunch, but when he came to my house into the studio for the last bits, he's very magnetic, man. He's a gorgeous, wonderful man, and it is really cool that we really are the three of very romantic guys, just being like, yeah, it's just got to feel like authentic and vulnerable. I'm like, wow, it's like I'm talking to myself. This is the best way to do another song with somebody.
Dude, guys need to be like that, man.
I mean, I'll head the front.
You need to.
I'm ready to.
I live in a house right now with like 4 other guys, so it's 5 of us, and like we'll have nights sometimes where it's like midnight and we're just sitting around like talking about feelings. And we're like, is this like normal? Like
some popcorn, watching The Notebook.
Dude,
Let's just
and I just feel like it's so much healthier because then you don't like, I don't know, feel embarrassed about your feelings and lash out, and then you just feel better about yourself.
We are who we are, and I'm always gonna watch The Bachelor, and I'm always gonna be all those things. Dude. And it's just who I am.
This
I can't
is why
deny
I
it.
liked you, man. So like when I feel like you are so good at like you're like the collab king. I feel like
yes, sir. Yes,
like
sir.
You're
Thank
so
you.
good at collabs. Is it hard to keep a version of your sound while you're collabing with so many people all the time? Like, how do you navigate that?
So real, yes, I think so. And I only like to collab with people that I feel connected to, obviously. Like, I love collaborating, but I think it's because, again, like I said, I love sharing something with someone else. And then when it becomes something, like I was just with my friend Keshi last night in Houston, and we have this song, It's You Together. And man, he's one of my favorite people in the world now. And if we hadn't have collaborated on that song, we wouldn't have had that bond. So it's like, it's so interesting because you kind of morph. It's like having a baby with someone, truly. It's like the song becomes that, and it's a little of you and a little of them, and you have to make sure that both of you are present. It can't just be one. So I feel really grateful that it always has some of me in it, but I love that every song really is a little different because it has that collaborator.
I'm so glad you brought that song up right now because I swear to God, this whole thing is not going to be me just like throwing
I love it.
compliments at you.
Thank
but, like,
you.
I truly feel this.
Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, for real. It's You, man, was like, no joke, in my Wrapped last year, top 3 songs of the entire year.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And it came out like towards the end of the year.
Yeah,
dude.
thank you, man.
So like when that happens and it's only been a couple of months, like I could not get enough of that song.
Thank you, brother.
And do you feel like every single time you collab with someone new, like do you gain something from each person too?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
And it's nice because I am in a very specific position. Being an artist, touring, having a family, or wanting to have a family, it's like with Keshi specifically, we're two of the same people. We're so similar in so many ways, and bonding so deeply about that experience. Yeah, it is that, exactly.
Do you run these songs by your family sometimes? Like, is
Always.
your wife really?
Every single song, and my wife has roasted me for many a love song I've written for sure. She's been like, oh yeah, this one I don't like it that much. Like there's one song that was supposed to be on my album, and I loved it. It was about like the summer we first met, and I played it for her the other day, and she was like, "Can I be honest? I think this one's not as good as the others." And I was like, damn, but that's why I have the people around me to keep it real. And when there is one, like Strings, she was humming throughout the house. She was singing in the bath. She was like, ooh. I was like, this is it. And so that's how I know. I always play it for the family first.
Do you hope the daughter gets into music?
I hope she just does whatever she loves, honestly.
I love that.
Yeah, she's been to a few shows, and it's so cool to see her be excited, but inevitably I also know she's going to be a teenager and hate what dad does and whatever, or just be embarrassed. Maybe she won't, I hope not, but I just want her to be passionate about whatever she does and believe in herself and what it is she's going for.
I feel like it's cool to see young dads. I have this like best friend who just had a baby. I think it just turned 1.
Beautiful.
And not going to lie, like I'll look sometimes and see how much sleep they're not getting. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, is it crazy
it's
sometimes?
rough. Oh yeah, of course. All of it is rough, but every stage is challenging, but I can't imagine not being one now. You know, it's like
Really?
every second I was on tour without them, it was just a whole part of me is missing, you know, and it's also a superpower for me now, at least. It's the best thing in the world to know that that's home base. Those are the people that matter the most, and that's what you're doing it for, and the rest you can brush off. It's not really as important anymore, which is great. Do you have
those, especially I feel like at that young age, like so many things are maybe happening for the first time with a kid. Like are there always those moments where you're just like, oh, that was like I'm seeing something for the first time. That's awesome.
Today was the first time that I've gotten home from a trip. It's been like 10 days since I saw her, and she got in my arms, and we have a little game where she goes, ready, set, go, and then I like go get, and I tickle her and stuff, and I got her in my arms, and she was like, love you, daddy. And I was like, wow, that's the first time she did that since she's learned to speak.
This is the stuff I need to hear, man.
It was spectacular, and also so grounded. It was magic, but also like, wow, this is life now, and that's really cool.
That's what's cool too, is I feel like so many people write about sad things like heartbreak and stuff like that, but you have so much positivity to write about, and some people I think are nervous that becomes boring, but when it comes from a place of being genuine, I think there's still so much to write about and so much excitement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that how you feel about
I'm grateful. I'm sure there will be more moments in my life where I will be far more sad and depressed. I've written plenty of those songs, but I think if anything, it is all fleeting. Even the happiness is fleeting, and I think if you happen to be in a place where you can be grateful for something in your life and you can latch onto that, I am right now, and why not write about that? That's what I try to.
So what are you still writing about? Is there an album coming?
Oh yeah, album's almost done. Got some more Secret Wonderful features. It's it's fun. It's used some more dancey stuff, some more ballads.
What can you tell us about it? Spill some tea on it.
Ooh, what can I spill? I'm definitely gonna try some different languages with some different versions, which I'm excited. Yeah, some stuff that I'm excited about. What else can I say? Yeah, some really cool other surprising features, which is always my favorite, to just shock the audience with maybe who's collaborating. Yeah, I feel like that's the juice. That's some tea right there. That's enough
for me, man.
Yeah,
I am so pumped to hear it. Strings is out now.
Yes,
Max,
sir.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, brother.
It's been great.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.